morning, everyone. Me and my giant mug of coffee are going to talk about the 7 worst jobs I've ever had because I was too afraid to do what I really wanted to do. 7. The 7th worst job I ever had. This one goes back to when I was still a kid. When I was 9 years old, I got it into my head that I should make my own money and have a business, because why not? So I called the local newspaper and I placed an ad for babysitting. Yeah, where were the adults? We don't know. No shit, a family actually came over and met me. I seemed reasonable and good with kids, and they let me, 9-year-old in elementary school me, watch their two very young children. One of them was like maybe 2, the other one was an infant, like an actual newborn. And they paid me like $150 a week or something. And every day after school, I would go home and I would take care of these kids. Like, my mom was there, she helped a little bit, but it was my job. It was crazy. And it lasted about a month before I realized that 9-year-old me did not enjoy having a job, because I wanted to go catch lizards and do other things that weird 9-year-olds do. So I quit that job and then spent all of the money at the toy store up the street. Number 6 worst job I ever had, working at a doggy daycare. Horrible. Not horrible because of the dogs. I loved the dogs. That's why I thought I would really like the job, because like, dogs all day, you're taking care of them. That sounds fucking amazing. Turns out not amazing, mostly because the place that I worked was awful. And because most of the dogs didn't actually want to be there, so it was heartbreaking. They spent most of the time like in a corner. So like half of the dogs played the whole time and were just oblivious that they had been abandoned here to this weird place. And they would play and they would have fun, mostly the labs. Then you would have these other random dogs that would be in like the corners of the room, shivering the whole time like they were in timeout, and it was heartbreaking. There was a wiener dog that was always shaking so uncontrollably that I would like wrap him in towels and put him on top of the dryer and like turn the dryer on to try to like comfort him. Horrible. Worst job number 5. I worked as a bartender at the time, very popular nightclub. No. And here's why. Because even though most of the people who go there were great, there were still the Chads. The Chads would still somehow make their way to this place and ruin it for everybody. One guy tipped me $50, me and my friend, who was also bartending, to spit in his drink. Dude, really? Like, you don't know where I've been? 4. Working at a piano store. Yeah. They hired me to like do their bookkeeping. I'm not good with money. I shouldn't be allowed to do that. 2, the place was silent all day long. There were like 2 employees. Yeah. So it was just silent as the tomb all day long while I like put numbers into the system and slowly died on the inside. I think I got fired from that job. Thank God. Worst job number 3. Working as a waitress at Chili's. And the reason that I did it is because I was like, working as a waitress is great because it gives me time to write my own stuff. No, It was the worst. Like I would often end up working double shifts, so no time to write, because to make enough money as a college student, I would have to work like on my days when I didn't have class the entire morning, have like a 5-minute lunch break standing up after being on my feet for hours already, carrying heavy ass trays. And then all night until like 10 p.m. It was horrible. I had no free time. My feet hurt at the end of the shift, and I wasn't good at it. Like one resting bitch face, like always. I'm just always in my head thinking, which makes it look like I'm always angry, and I'm not at all, but I look real mad all the time. 2, not good with really mean people. And at Chili's, let me tell you, not the most emotionally intelligent group of customers. I would get mostly Karens who would come in and yell at you the second that their Diet Coke got to like here. And then also, I'm not coordinated. So one time, and this was like the saddest thing that ever happened to this man, it was his birthday and he was there with like 20 family members. And so I was carrying a tray of salsa, right? Because at Chili's you get free chips and salsa like this big. A whole tray of them. There was like the trays were huge. Carrying it, turned to set it on the tray thingy. And as I turned, gravity took over. All of the salsa went this way directly onto the birthday man's head. I was horrified. Like, it was so sad. Worst job, number 2. Working as a spinner at I'll just say a company that was entirely online, like a digital business. This job is actually not okay with Google and will get you banned.
But I didn't know that at the time.
So my job, which I was very proud of because I was like, I'm kind of writing, like I'm sort of doing the thing I want to be doing, which is great. My job was to write articles, short articles for them about, their niche or whatever. And then change the articles by just changing the words, like rewriting the same article like 10 times so that they could post it on many different blogs that they had with links linking back to their website. Again, Google enormously frowns on this and they ended up getting like blacklisted. It was like a huge thing for their company. I had no idea. I was just doing what I was told. Worst job, number 1. This one really takes the goddamn cake, guys. Hold on, my dog needs to go outside. I'm back. Okay, worst job, number 1. Working as a bartender in a Bosnian bar that was definitely doing some very shady illegal shit. So this job, oh God, it was so bad. You were required to get there at like 6:30 in the morning because it was very European in the way that it functioned as like a coffee shop and like a place where people went for drinks. Because like this is like, when I lived in Italy, this is very common. Like you would go get coffee at like a bar, they're called bars, during the day in the afternoon. And then you would go and get like a spritz there or like have some drinks after class, in grad school or whatever. So you had to be there like 6:30 in the morning. Starting at like 6 p.m., it turned into a full-blown bar. So you have people pouring in, getting absolutely shit-faced until, 4 o'clock in the morning. They would have special singers and stuff come in from Bosnia, which again was cool, like, being exposed to like a different culture and like the things. but it was insane. I would be working and some sketchy ass guy would come in and hand me an envelope and be like, put this under the cash register. It's for blah. I'm doing a terrible Bosnian accent, so I apologize. Put it there, blah, blah. And like, don't open it. Don't look at it. You know, make sure so-and-so gets it. It was like so sketchy. And this happened all the time. And I was like, he's like fucking laundering money or something. I don't know what's going on. Like, I don't want to know. This is so just no. One time when I was working, I had been working like a 16-hour shift. It was horrible. And some of my friends came in to see me because they thought it was hilarious that I worked at this place. And they also wanted to just come and, you know, hang out because I couldn't leave. And there was like a Bosnian performer there. The place was packed with all of these people. And a woman randomly decided she wanted to dance with my friend. And he was like, nah, I'm good. Like, I don't dance. And she was like fucking furious with him. She was like, you get up and dance. No. But like in a very angry, very strong accent, dance. And he was like, nah, dude. I'm not joking. She leaned over like she was going to whisper something in his ear. And she bit him. She Mike Tyson'd his freaking ear. Like blood. And then he like screamed like a stuck pig. And I'm like bartending, like watching this whole thing go down, horrified. And then she starts twirling around the dance floor like she had just performed some kind of like human bloodletting sacrifice. Then, you know, D-Day, like the end of me working there was incredibly dramatic. Probably a little traumatic too, but I've blocked that part out. I, again, had been working like a 16-hour shift there, like the night before, and was back in the morning, and it was just me, and like one of the owners came in and he was like, hey, the other two bartenders canceled, so you need to be here until like 4 o'clock in the morning. And I said, fuck no. Like, there's no way I'm doing that. I like have studying to do. You know, I've got friends to see. Like, I've been here all week working like morning until late at night. Like, I'm not even getting enough sleep. Like, this job pays absolute trash because like Europeans don't tip that great because they don't tip in their own countries. It's not a thing. So I was like, nah. And he starts arguing with me. And I was like, you know what? I quit. Like, I'm done. I quit. He went ballistic, like face red, screaming hysterically at me in a lot of different languages. There was a lot happening. And then he picked me up, no joke, like picked me up and like tossed me like through, like over the bar and was like screaming, get the fuck out. And I was like in shock and confused and full of rage, like angry, feminine rage, revenge. I like ran out. I was in like a mini skirt and like a sweater, jumped on my Vespa because I was that person at the time, and like hit the gas, and he came running out screaming at me like, never come back. And I like and flipped him off over my shoulder. What is this life? Because I really idolized David Sedaris. He was and is one of my all-time favorite writers. And he's just a legend. He's so iconic. I love everything about him and his work. And like, I desperately wanted to be like him. But I was terrified to actually admit that to the world and to do to openly work towards it. But I did part of it. I was like, hey, I'm scared to like jump all in and try to be a writer. So instead, on the weekends, I'll go to a coffee shop. I'll write a little bit every weekend. And then I'll take these crazy jobs and I'll take notes of the jobs so that I have something to write about later on, kind of like Sedaris did, right? Like he writes about his life, and so he would have these crazy experiences, he would write about it, you know. And I had a boyfriend at the time that was like very supportive, and he was like going to an Ivy League school, and he was like very like cute and preppy, and he was like, oh, this is my girlfriend, she works at this crazy Bosnian bar because she chooses to, because she wants to write about her experiences, which made me look really interesting and artistic instead of the truth, which was that like I was just kind of afraid to pursue what I wanted to actually do. It just felt too scary, because what if I failed? I didn't know what any of that would look like, and it just felt very embarrassing, you know, to put myself out there like that. And so I just kind of wrote quietly a little bit here and there and took these very bizarre jobs, feeling like I was in a way working towards my goals, but really I was just hiding from them, which is like kind of the whole point of this video. Like the whole reason that I wanted to share this in the first place was to say, don't hide from yourself. Like if there is something that you want to do, you have to just put yourself out there and do it. And it is going to be scary and it's going to be terrifying, but you can do it. You can do it. Tell everyone what you're doing. Tell the world what you're doing, and people will rally and support you. And if they don't, I will. So you can tell me what you're working on, and I will do what I can to like your page, like your post, you know, be your cheerleader. I have all of the words of affirmation right here, ready to go. You can do this. You can do hard things, and you can do scary things, but you can't do shit if you don't actually just go for it. You got this.